bandwidths are so narrow than the multispectral sensors. So the informations so the information contents will be so high over here, and the signal to noise ratio is so low, and that's why the image contrast is getting so high over here. So these are the currently operational sensors like AVIRIS and the Hyperion. AVIRIS is the airborne sensor and the Hyperion is the spaceborne sensor, and these two are very important, and you have to know about the in details about these two kind of the sensors. So now the hyperspectral image data. So what is the nature of this hyperspectral image data? That is very important, and that is very interesting. The hyperspectral remote sensing image data, or the hyperspectral remote sensing imaging system, combines the spectroscopy and the image data in a single system, as I have said it earlier. So in this case, the hyperspectral imaging system combines the image data and spectroscopy in a single system. The images are 3D volumetric cubes. The images are basically the 3D volumetric cubes consisted of 100 to 200 or above spatial images or spectral bands of relatively narrow wavelengths, and this hyperspectral image data cube collect the spatial information in the xy plane and the spectral informations in the z directions. So suppose it is the hyperspectral image data cube, and this x and y, and this is the z direction. So along this x and y plane, the spatial informations can be stored, means the height and width of the tile or the pixel size, and along this z dimension we can get the spectral informations about the bands. So again, so hyperspectral remote sensing imaging system combines the image data and the spectroscopy in a single system. Hyperspectral images are 3D volumetric cubes which consisted of 100 to 200 or more spatial images or the spectral bands of relatively narrower wavelength, and hyperspectral image data cube collect the spatial informations in xy plane and the spectral informations in the z direction. So what are the typical characteristics of this hyperspectral image data? So the characteristics of the hyperspectral image data can be described in three ways, like contiguity in the data collection, number of the wave bands, and the bandwidth. So number one is the contiguity in the data collection, means the database can be collected continuously as the bands are continuous. So in this image database, band contiguity is very common over the entire spectral range. That is number one. Number two, in the image database, bandwidth are kept equally spreaded over entire spectral range. What does it mean? It is very interesting and important. Suppose for any hyperspectral image data set, the wavelength ranges are extended from 400 nanometer to 2500 nanometer, and within this wavelength or within this width, 400 to 700 nanometer wavelengths contains numerous narrow bands. But on the other hand, from 701 to 2500 nanometer, this width contains the broadbands. So this kind of discrepancies should not be carried out, and this kind of combination cannot form an hyperspectral image data. So what should be there within this range, means 400 to 2500 nanometer, each and every bandwidth should be equally spread. Either it can be broadband and equally spread, or the narrower bands should equally be spread out. So that is the basic nature of this hyperspectral image database. So I want to repeat it again. In case of the image database, the bandwidths are kept equally spread over the entire spectral range. Means within a spectral range, the bandwidths should be equal. This should not be unequal. Likewise, if it is taken a bandwidth as 400 to 2500 nanometer, and if it is seen that up to 7 nanometer, from 400 nanometer there are numerous amount of the narrow bands, and from 701 to 2500 nanometers there are some amount of the broadbands, that is not required. That is not be an hyperspectral images. If it has to be a hyperspectral image, then within the entire spectral range, each and every bandwidth should be equally divided or should be equally spread out. So then we can say that kind of image as the hyperspectral. If there are 70 bands, then each of the bands out of these 70 bands should be of equal wavelength. So that will be the hyperspectral. And lastly, as the narrow bandwidths are required to collect the spectral signatures, subtle details about the object spectra can be explored. So what is it? Suppose this is the spectral signature curve of the multispectral, and this is the spectral signature curve of the hyperspectral. Suppose it is the curve of the vegetation. Okay, this curve is looking like a robotic here, and that is very large scale in very small scale in nature. There are no such kind of the differences can be identified identified band wise. But if this vegetative spectra is seen over here, then we can get a detailing about the spectral characteristics of the object per band. So that is basically said as the contiguity of the spectral informations, and there is no such omission. But in this case, we can get some omission of the spectral feature, some kind of the spectral behavior of the object we cannot get from this multispectral. But in this hyperspectral, we can get the micro level of detailing about the object from the hyperspectral image. Okay, so that is the basic characteristics of the hyperspectral imaging system or the image. So these are the basic application areas of the hyperspectral image database. You can get this kind of the thing from any kind of the books. And so that is the introductory portions of the hyperspectral imaging system or the hyperspectral remote sensing system. And in the next video, I will provide you the processing steps of the hyperspectral imaging system or the hyperspectral image data band. Okay.